through my journey, I never wanted to do all the things that I found myself doing. I never wanted to be a teacher. I never wanted to do masters. I didn't even consider running for a position. But I realized that unconsciously, we all like working towards our destiny. We're all working towards our purpose, even if we're not sure where we're going to. My colleague who had an issue was invited to a panel for academic integrity. Over 90% plagiarism. And then she reached out to me. She presented her case. She was new to the UK system. She got into the UK really late, and luckily she was given another chance. And then I saw the email from the union. I was like, nominate yourself to be an officer. It was so easy for me to write my manifesto because I was already in the system. I was an academic rep. I had seen different issues that students face, especially international students. There has not been any Nigerian to run for that position. I submitted 9:59 a.m. It was closing 10 a.m. I would never feel fulfilled going for president because I think that is not my focus. My focus is education. I was studying in Stirling and I was living in Aberdeen, like 6 hours approximately every day just for schooling. One of my joy that I'm in this role is the fact that I can represent not just everyone else, but also my people. Well, I think I'll go with this Bible passage that says, whatsoever your hands find doing well. For me, it wasn't about the position, it was about making a change. I've realized that because I'm in this position, a lot of people, especially international students, feel connected and they feel like they have someone as an international student who understands how they feel and what they go through. I've walked into some spaces and don't feel welcome, and what I would do is raise my head up high. But I've always been privileged to meet like understanding and really sweet individuals who has also made my journey easy. Self-doubt will always come because you face so much challenges in terms of people who don't see you as someone that can make the change. Hi, my name is Adelayo Adebayo, and my story from Nigeria. Well, I had my undergraduate at the University of Stirling, and I studied English and Literary Studies, and then I was posted to a radio station. I'd never been in the media space before. I'd always be like an English person in education, and so when I got into the role, I was in the reporting team. So we would go out, would report stories, would write on stories. But the training that I had and the support that I had from the media team, so I stayed with Voice FM at Adelayo Adebayo. I had the privilege to also interview and be in the same space with the governor at that time, that's Governor Fayemiro. But immediately I finished my NYC, I got married. So we moved down to Ivory Coast, also known as Côte d'Ivoire. So when I got there, it's a French country. I didn't know how to speak French. I've always loved speaking French, but I didn't know how to speak French. So when I got there, I got a job. I was a teacher. I never wanted to be a teacher because my mom is a retired head teacher. And it's not what actually my thing, standing in front of lots of people. And when I got into the role, it was so exciting. I really loved it. I was so into it. I was dedicated. I did all sorts. And I did teaching for 3 years. So because I'd been in the media space before leaving Nigeria, I decided that I was going to do my master's in media. I never wanted to do masters. So many, like looking through my journey, I never wanted to do all the things that I found myself doing. It wasn't what I wanted, but I believe that God just orchestrated my steps. And I found that the University of Stirling was second in Scotland in media and communications and was 5th in the UK. So I was like, okay, I think I will be there. I think I would really love to attend the university. So I got into the university. It was really tough. I was studying in Stirling and I was living in Aberdeen. I'm sure we are all like familiar with the housing issues here and there in the UK. So it was really hard for my family to get an accommodation here in Stirling. So I was transporting myself from Aberdeen down to Stirling. And I would have classes like 3 times in a week. It got to a point that I had to stay with a friend for a few days, then go back to Aberdeen. But while I was doing this, I remember that I was in a bus down to Stirling from Aberdeen going for a class with a friend of mine, and we got an email from a program director saying that if you would like to volunteer yourself to be an academic rep, kindly reply to this email. When I saw the email, I was like, I don't think I want to do that. I was like, for him to send that email, that means they're actually in need of someone. Then my friend sitting next to me was like, why? You can just nominate yourself. I believe you can do it. You're outspoken and you're already into all this kind of thing. So I replied the mail, and that was why I got the role of academic rep at the university. So I was representing my cohort. And it was really hard for me because I wasn't really that kind of person, like trying to communicate. I get tired easily, and especially when I try talking to people like consistently. I always try as much as possible because I'm very cautious to stay in track and not talk out of point. And also, but when I got into the role, it was interesting. I devised lots of techniques to get feedback from my colleagues. I would attend their meetings. I would, give feedback on what's our experiences and all. There was a certain time where one of my colleagues was had her impairment and was having difficulty because it was entitled to get a support, someone that would assist with writing in class. And then I think there was a stop at that time, and it wasn't really it was really lagging behind. And then he spoke to me. I spoke to my program director about that, and then he took it up and it was resolved. But one of the major reasons I would say that got me into the role of VP education was I I was really dedicated, I would say, and based on the feedback that I received from my colleagues, and they were really interested with what I did. They would open up to me. I would walk up to people in classes, reach out through online and different spaces just to get the feedback that I was looking for. There was a certain lady in my colleague who had an issue with, he had academic integrity, was invited to a panel for academic integrity. So she at that time we had submitted three assessments. It was essay writing, research works, and then he had over 90% plagiarism in two of the assessments. And so she was invited to a panel, and then she reached out to me. In the UK, new at the university, I didn't know what to do. I started reaching out to different people because while I was reading the policies, I realized that she could bring someone to attend with her. She presented her case. She was new to the UK system. She got into the UK really late, and there was no time, barely a week, for her to process her assessment. And then she just did what she did. And luckily, she was given another chance. And so at that point when the whole thing happened, I didn't even consider running for a position. I didn't know how the system works. I didn't know when the election was going to be. But on this fateful day in February, I think it was on the 11th of February, if I'm right, I woke up in the morning, I was lying on the bed, and then I was just going through my emails, unusual. Waking up early in the morning and just going through emails. And then I saw the email from the union. I was like, nominate yourself to be an officer. I was like, what's that? And then I just clicked on the link. I was like, okay, let me see. What are they saying? And I just kept clicking and clicking till I got to the point where I was meant to put down my name. I was like, what am I doing? I'm not sure of what's going to happen. I wasn't, all the while that I was trying to follow the information, put down my information, I wasn't really paying attention that I was actually nominating myself for a role. But when I nominated myself, I received an email saying that I had to submit manifesto and did other stuff. And that was when I realized that the nomination was closing that same day, 10 a.m. in the morning. And I was on it past 8. So I started calling my friends. I think I want to run for this position. I want to write my manifesto and all. So it was so easy for me to write my manifesto because I was already in the system. I was an academic rep. I had seen different issues that students face, especially international students. And I've also realized that I don't think there has not been any Nigerian to run for that position. I submitted 9:59 a.m. It was closing 10 a.m. I submitted, and immediately I wanted to make an edit, and it was 10 a.m. And I was like, and I received there was a notification that said, sorry, you cannot edit because nomination has closed. So I nominated, and that was the reason why I always remember the timing that I submitted. And then the journey continued. Where I am and where I've been, it's not where I've planned to be. But I've realized that unconsciously, we all working towards our destiny. We're all working towards our purpose, even if we're not sure of where we're going to. I feel like all the things that I've done and all the positions or all the places that I've put myself into has shaped me into where I am today. And I would say that one of my joy that I'm in this role is the fact that I can represent not just everyone else, but also my people. I mean, I know that at the union we talk about inclusion, being inclusive, equality, and that is where I find myself. That is what I do. But the fact that I've realized that because I'm in this position, a lot of people, especially international students, have found it more easy to reach out because they feel connected. They feel like they have their own person in that role, and they feel like they have someone as an international student who understands how they feel and what they go through. And this is one of the things that gives me like the push every day. And I realized that, doing all those things have given me so much to make a lot of changes. I mean, I'm someone who doesn't like blowing a trumpet, but I feel like, you know, the things that I've been able to achieve with the support of the union, with the support of the university staff members, with the support of my husband, because where I am today, every time he would always be the first person to say, "Babe, I think you can do it. Just go for it." I realized that during the October, the Independence Day that we had last year, we had like a mini party at the university to celebrate Nigerians, and that was where I met lots of other Nigerians, and I heard about the issues that they were facing, about payments. We know about the naira devaluation and all sorts. And I took this up. I set up a meeting with the director of finance at the university, presented the case, and this is what the Nigerian community are facing, and this is what we're going through. If there is any way that it can be supported, because lots of them could not, make their enrollment due to the naira devaluation at that time, and they couldn't like get into the system. It gave me a sense of joy that I could be there for people. I mean, there are so many things to also being like a representative of universities in Scotland for the STEP project, as the Scotland Tertiary Enhancement Program. I was nominated among others, and I was voted for as the top. And this is like a sense of like fulfillment, and helps me understand that there is a room to do more. So it's just been a great joy and privilege to be in this role. Well, I think I'll go with this Bible passage that says, "Whatsoever your hands find doing, do it well." For me, it wasn't about the position, it was about making a change. It wasn't about filling a position, it wasn't about how people would perceive me or how people would see me. It was about implementing changes. And I would say the major reason why I found myself in this position is because of my experience. I can confidently speak on behalf of students and on behalf of international students and say, this is what we want, this is how. Even though we have to, I always, because I have the academic community where whenever there is anything changing or there is any feedback needed, I would always go back to the community and take feedbacks. But I would say that, that when I was trying to run for the second term, there were different thoughts. People were speaking to me, "Oh, why don't you go for president?" and all. And the same when I said that I would never feel fulfilled going for president, because I feel that is not my focus. My focus is education, advocating for change, student experience, student voice, student engagement, funding, anything that has to do with education. So it's not just about the role. And I would say that a sabbatical role in most places, in most union, it's not really it's not hierarchical. Some union it can be, but for certain student union, the role is not really hierarchical. But outside, that's not what people see. People see the president and like, oh, the president. But I don't think it's just about the portfolio. It's about what you can do, and that is what I have done. I've had lots of people walk up to me, even from the university, the union, and say, "You're hardworking, you are so efficient," and all. And I take that. Sometimes I take it. I feel it's hard for me to take the compliments, because I feel like I've set target for myself and where I want to see, like the change I want to see. I'm not there yet, but my manager would always tell me that always take the compliments, always take the compliments all the time. Acknowledge yourself, of which I do. But when as a perfectionist, when you set a target for yourself, you find it hard to celebrate until you get to that point. But overall, I would just say that don't doubt yourself ever. When I was contesting the first time, I was contesting against 4 other people who were 5 candidates, and these other people were people who had like been participating with the union, been involved in all of that. I wasn't. I mean, I was an academic grad, but that was what I knew. I didn't know much about the union, the student union. I didn't have any information at all. And there was a comment about I was the only person that no one knew who I was. No one knew who I was. Everyone knew the other 4 candidates. So it was during the candidate review, that people saw, oh, so this is the Adelayo. And there were lots of talks around. I don't think she's going to win because, she's black and she's not really like into the community. She doesn't have other people and all of that. But, it's a privilege. I would always say that and people voted for me. People were so interested. Home students, black people, everyone wanted to listen to what I had to say. And I would just say that it's a really great privilege. Don't ever doubt yourself. Always believe in yourself. It doesn't matter what the noise or all the things that people have said. It's about the drive. I think the drive is the most important thing. And always put God at the center. I would always say that this position that I am today is not just me. Like, it's not me at all. It's just God. Because I applied 9:59 a.m. and it was close to 10 a.m. I wasn't interested. I wasn't following the updates. I wasn't following the election. It's just all by God's grace. And I always try to say this and remember myself that there's a reason why God has placed me here. And if I don't fulfill that purpose, then I have failed. So that is also one of the things that keeps me going. And it's not just about doing the job, it's about fulfilling purpose. From the beginning, I said that all the places I found myself were places I'd never imagined. I've always been someone who loves to work behind the scene. I don't like being at the forefront. I don't like being in front of the crowd and doing things. But I realized that there are some things that will not change if you don't put yourself out there. It's faith, I would say, and it's about learning to trust God every step of the way. Most times when things don't go the way I plan, I always remind myself that where I am today, how did you get there? Is this by your power? No, it's not by my power. And I would also say hard work. I mean, now I've just been elected the second term. Like, this is just, I'm yet to start my second term. I'll be starting in June. But I'm already anxious about who is going to take over from me. I'm like, I wish and I hope I have the power to have someone who will be as hardworking, as passionate, ambitious, even more than I am. So it's not just about, I mean, faith is there, but even God loves someone who is hardworking. He is always an advocate of that. And I would say hard work also. I always want to say things to the end. And in a way, I always say I'm quite stubborn. I mean, I know it has the good and the bad, but I'm quite consistent when I want to see a change, when I want to see something change. I'll hammer on that till I see the change. So I would say faith, believing in God, trusting God every step of the way. Because I would say along my journey, I've met awesome people. I've met people, especially university staff members as well. They've been really supportive, ready to listen, ready to hear and understand what international students are facing and what the issue is. I mean, there's so many things I've been able to influence, honestly. It's not pride, but it's very hard for us to see, like for people to actually see, or it's hard for us to quantify what we've done. And I would just want to say that hard work also is very important, and that has also helped me to get to where I am today. If you are going to go through this path in terms of VP education or being an officer or being in any role at all in the UK, I think the major challenge that might come is self-doubt, because you're in a system where it's not your system. You're in a system where it's strange. You are not familiar with that. And it might be really hard for you to actually stand up for yourself and say that even if no one is listening, I'll do this regardless. Self-doubt will always come because you'll face so much challenges in terms of people who don't see you as someone that can make the change, or people who don't see you as someone they feel can be listened to. And I've walked into some spaces and don't feel welcome. And what I would do is raise my head up by, I mean, one of the challenges that I faced was accommodation issues. It was really hard for me trying to transfer myself from Aberdeen to Stirling every week. I mean, 2-3 times a week, and that's 3 hours. That's 6 hours approximately every day just for schooling. I mean, there are situations and challenges that are actually peculiar to us, and I would say so far, honestly, I would say I've had it smooth to an extent. Compared to other people, but I just want to say that, self-doubt is one of the major things that I face at first. Even when I nominated myself and I went for candidate revealing, I was like, am I in the right place? That was what I kept asking myself. But I mean, the support of the Black community helped me a great deal. My campaign team was so supportive, and everything just kept going and just going smoothly. I honestly, I don't know what to say in terms of challenges. It's to an extent I would say that I've had it fair compared to other people, and I'm so grateful to God for that. It's so hard for you to keep track of all the challenges that you face, and to be honest, but moving into an unfamiliar environment, that was my major concern. I was like, Ivory Coast is a French country, any English speaker that you see there would be an international, like someone who is not a native, or a native who has gone out of the country for schooling and is now back. So it was hard because I had to start learning French. I mean I speak French but not that perfect anyways. So it was really hard for me to settle in terms of learning the language. I used Duolingo. I had other people who were already in the country. My husband was really supportive because he speaks French. He speaks French perfectly. I would say not compared to native, but he speaks French really well. So he also helped me. He was there for me. I would support me. But I think one of the things that I've noticed about myself is that I find it really easy to adapt in a new environment. I mean, someone else might not find it that easy, but I find it really easy to find myself in a new environment and adapt really quickly. And it's also one of the things that's helped me, that's shaped me to get like a better experience moving down to the UK and being in the community. I mean, when I got into the role, I was asking questions like how would I cope. I don't even know. I don't know those people. It's a new environment and all sorts. But I've always been privileged to meet like understanding and really sweet individuals, and was also made my journey easy. So I would say that in times of like challenges and all, there would always be peculiar challenges to us, and we might not have it the same way other people have it. But in terms of like settling into unfamiliar places, I would say that my personality is, I've always been like that. I mean, even though I would categorize myself as someone who is quiet, I don't really like talk in certain circumstances. But when I find myself in places where I have to make a change through my voice, I don't let that slide, and I don't let that. You can be sure, but not 100%. There will always be doubts, and that is the moment that you even need to push harder. When I was nominating myself for the step topic lead, I mean, I when I did, because I was, if you're nominating yourself, you nominate yourself with 200 words. The reason why you want to be a step topic lead, and also someone from the university nominate you. And we were given 3 days just for the application because we got the information really late. I mean, we had a meeting on Tuesday and we meant to take it in on a Friday morning, even though eventually the time was extended. And what did I do? I didn't even think about other people that would have applied. I didn't think about other people that would be interested. What I was thinking about was just myself. And I reached out to Terry, who is the deputy principal for student experience at the university. I reached out to Terry, and Terry gave me the nominated, like wrote out the nomination. So it was 200 words. It has to be nominated by someone, a staff at the university. Gave me the nomination the second day, and what she wrote about me was really like intriguing. I couldn't believe myself. And sometimes I'm like, okay, sometimes you're doing something right, but you still need other people to sort of encourage you and let you know that this is what you're doing. And I didn't think about other people were applying. I just applied for the role and I forgot about it. I mean, I was thinking about it at the back of my mind, but I wasn't really like expecting much. I was like, I have done it. If I don't get in it, that's fine. And then I got in. I wasn't the only one that applied for the role. There were other sabbatical officers across Scotland that applied to represent the university. So that's why I would say go for it. You won't be 100% sure of yourself. There will always be self-doubt. And also, another major thing that helps me is community. Find your community. Find your community. These are the people that will support you. I mean, I had really supporting people who were interested. Reach out to as many people as possible, because you can never do it alone. When I was applying for the step, I also told my chief exec, I was like, I'm applying for this role. Can you go through my nomination? And I was like, it's perfect. Everything is okay. So don't always put yourself only in the circle. Find other people that can support you. Find other people that can be there. And also just go for it, honestly.